Looking at Mountain View Camp from the end of the driveway. Now we are looking west up Kings Highway, turning back towards the camp, looking east down Kings Highway. This is the gate, looking across the chain. Trees are grown right around these wheels that the gate is attached to. Here is the end post with a no trespassing sign right at the end of the driveway on Kings Highway. An old fence post with wire attached. You can see the wire fence right here. Looking back up towards the gate, over the stone wall is more wire fencing. And now follow the wire fencing a little bit into the woods on the other side of the stone wall, and we see the remnants of a fence post and wire. That's the wire fence, and we follow it up the stone wall. More wire with a post, and we follow the wire up the stone wall. And there's more fencing buried in the ground, and here we have a post laying on its side with two porcelain insulators. And we're looking up the fence towards the camp, walking through the woods, and we find another post with a porcelain insulator. And looking up the stone wall, and we see in the distance another fence post. And another insulator on the fence post, and looking up the stone wall with the camp on the upper left, sighting up this post, we see another post attached to a tree. The stone wall in the background, camp. Continue up the stone wall, and we find another post. Nails, and there's the stone wall, the driveway, and the camp. And we'll continue walking alongside the stone wall, and we find another post with an insulator, and next to that another split post. And this is where the stone wall ends. This is the camp, and we keep walking in a straight line, and we come across another post and a standing post about 30 feet down, and hand to the left, there's the camp. Keep following, it's basically a straight line past this big apple tree, and there's another post laying in the ground. And now we find more wire fencing with the remnant of a post still attached to it. And you can see the wire fencing right here, connected to the post going underground. And looking back to our left is the camp. And back to our right is a large tree and more wire fence. And here we have the back corner of the lot with the pile of stones. We turn to the east, there's Gretchen's Road. Back to the west, pile of stones. And back to the south is the garage, and to the left of that the camp. Now across the pile of stones there is more wire fencing going directly across the stones. And there is another remnant of a fence post right underneath this wire. And you can can see the fencing directly over the pile of stones. Just a little bit away from the pile of stones is another post, and if you look closely you can see a large metal staple in this post. So looking from the pile of stones from the camp and drawing a straight line following where the stone wall was, we have more wire coming out of the ground, maybe about 30 feet away from the pile of stones. Keep following this line. We find another fence post laying in the ground. Keep following this, basically a perfectly straight line, and we find another fence post in the ground. And if you look closely, there's also wire fencing underneath the ground, underneath this post. Keep following a straight line, and another 30, 40 feet we find another fence post, and we find more wire buried in the ground running underneath the post. The wire is deeply buried. It goes on both sides of the post. You can see it's been here for quite a while. We keep walking up and we find another cedar post laying in the ground. We lift it up and you look on the other side and you can see metal staple, and we keep, there's a post that's standing, still following this almost perfectly straight line. I see this post and we look, this one's still standing, and we look just a little 15 feet away, there's a tree, and in the base of the tree there's more metal fencing. Pull the metal fencing and it moves the ground back towards this leaning post that we just looked at, which is right there. And here, a little farther up underneath the big pine tree, we excavated a little, about 3 inches into the ground, and there we can find more wire fence. You can see it's deeply buried, but it's definitely a wire sheep fence. About another 20 feet up, it's still running underneath the ground, but still pretty intact. And next to that is another fence post. The cedar has a particular green color. Keep walking, we find more wire and another fence post. You can see it runs in a line right up, right underneath leaves, keeps going. Follow it. Describes almost a perfectly straight line. There's more there. You can see at the base of the tree. And here we have maybe another remnants of a post, and underneath it more wire fencing. Keep following this, and there's some more wire fencing, all lining up right on the line that it shows on the map. And here we turn and we walk about another 40 feet following this straight line, and we see Mrs. Anderson's road, and walk down on the road, and this is looking down towards the Kings Highway to her road.